So let's focus on Chapter 13, Nutrients that Provide Energy. These would be carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So what is energy? Energy is the capacity to work or engage in activity. So some questions you might have is, where do we get energy? What foods yield energy? Do all nutrients provide the same amount of energy? And what happens when you take in too much energy? So how much energy do you need? So a person's energy needs are determined by a combination of factors, a combination of basal metabolism rate, or BMR, thermic energy, the amount of energy used to digest food and store and release energy, and physical activity. So what is BMR? This is the amount of energy needed to perform involuntary body processes such as breathing, blood circulation, heartbeat, muscle tone, and nerve activity. So what factors affect BMR? So, well, age is a factor. BMR burns approximately 1 calorie per minute. This rate slows by approximately 1% each year after the age of 25. Body temperature. If an environment is cooler, it causes the BMR to speed up. Nutritional status. And then body composition. Muscle is more active than fat tissue and burns more calories. So here is an activity to calculate your BMI, and you'll be doing this as your chapter activity, and you'll be calculating your own BMI and then calculating child BMI as part of that chapter activity. So what are children's energy needs? Well, young children have a greater need for calories and essential nutrients than adults do because of their rapid growth, their faster metabolism, and their higher activity rate. Thermic effects of food, about 5 to 10% of total energy output is the thermic effect of food. This is the energy required for digestion and absorption. This includes the breakdown of foods in the intestinal tract by enzymes, absorption into the bloodstream, the uptake by the intestinal cells, and then transporting it to the lymphatic system and the liver. So here's an activity that you could participate in order to balance food with your physical activity. And so the basics then of energy in relationship to nutrients depends on proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And all calories come from these three nutrients. And that energy is combined from those nutrients with sodium, vitamins and minerals, and water. So when we look at energy then, carbohydrates and proteins yield 4 calories per gram of energy, whereas fat yield 9 calories per gram of energy. And so here we're comparing carbohydrates, which come from apples, 200 calories of carbohydrates in apples compared to 200 calories of carbohydrates from fat that come from cheese. And you can see there's much more food in the carbohydrates with 4 calories per gram than in the fats from the cheese. So looking at carbohydrates then, they yield 4 calories of energy per gram. They should make up 50 to 60% of one's daily total calorie intake, and they consist of 2 important groups, starches such as grains and digestible starches, and you can look at these different types on page 347 of your text, and sugars, the sugars found in fruits, vegetables, and milks, such as simple glucose, fructose, and galactose, and then compound sugars like sucrose and lactose. And you can find out more about these on page 344 of your text. Fats Fats yield 9 calories of energy per gram and should make up no more than 25 to 30% of your daily calories. They're present in 3 forms: saturated fats from animals. You can find information about this on page 348. Unsaturated fat from plant-based, and cholesterol, which primarily comes from animal-based products. Cholesterol is a waxy substance, and it's not all bad. Your body needs cholesterol to build cells, but it causes problems if we have too much of it. So the functions of fat are to support growth of the brain and nerve cells, and then essential fatty acids, and then carry fat-soluble vitamins, and then they provide concentrated energy, which is important especially for children's high energy needs. So fats, they're everywhere, but not all fat is bad or unhealthy. Fat provides calories for energy. Fat tastes good, and it slows digestion, and it makes us feel satisfied longer after a meal. Dietary fats should not be restricted for children younger than 2 years of age, as long as they're eating a healthy diet otherwise. So proteins, again, provide 4 calories per gram, and they yield energy, but are used primarily for building body tissue. Rich sources include fish, poultry, pork, and beef, eggs, cheese, and milk, peanut butter, dried peas, beans, lentils, and soybeans. So if we are to look at obesity trends in the United States, we can see that in 2000, in our state of California, the obesity rate was 15 to 19%. If we look again at 2008, in the 8 years, it increased to 20 to 24%. Unfortunately, in California, we've remained the same 2 years later, although many other states have increased in the percentage of obesity. So the demographic that's increased the most with these changes has been childhood obesity, and it's increasing at an alarming rate. It occurs when more calories are taken in than are used. And contributing factors to this are frequent consumption of high-fat foods, eating fast food or prepackaged foods, eating low-density snacks and sugary foods, drinking fruit juice and designer drinks. Children should only have a maximum of half a cup of fruit juice every day, and it shouldn't be provided in place of water or milk. And then, of course, our sedentary lifestyle or inactivity. So some strategies for addressing children's weight problems include increasing physical activity, making healthy dietary changes to include more fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and lower fat foods, making sure you offer that variety of foods at each meal. Even if children don't eat it right away, continue offering that rather than offering more of foods they prefer. For example, macaroni and cheese. Continue to offer the appropriate serving sizes of macaroni and cheese, and then also all of the other varieties of foods. Replacing sugary drinks and juice with water, and then being a positive role model, making sure you're eating a healthy diet to set a good example for your child, and not using food as a reward or a punishment. So one of the issues in regards to serving sizes is the increase in what we're used to being served. And so these differences that are represented here are actually adult serving sizes. And so when we look at bagels should only be 2 ounces for a serving size for adults. But today, most bagels are 4 ounces, and some are even bigger than that. 4 ounces is twice the actual serving size of bagels. When it comes to meat, a single meat serving should be between 2.5 and 3 ounces, but restaurants often serve today up to 14 ounces, which is 5 times the appropriate serving size. For pop or soda, the average serving size of pop used to be 6.5 ounces, but now it's 20 ounces, which is 3 times more. When you look at bakery products like muffins, a single muffin serving used to be between 30 and 60 grams, but muffins today typically weigh 150 grams or more, and that's 5 times more. When it comes to popcorn, the average serving of popcorn at the movies used to be about 5 cups, but now it's more than twice that, at 11 cups. And then pasta is the most vicious culprit. A single serving of pasta is a half cup for adults, a quarter cup for children, preschool children, but most of us devour 2 to 3 cups in a single meal, which is 6 times more than the appropriate serving size. You can see why there's an increase in obesity rates. So then what's the physiology of weight loss? Well, the total energy requirement has 3 basic components. Your RMR, or resting metabolic rate, that's the energy requirement to maintain the body's vital processes in the resting state, and this accounts for 60 to 70% of the total daily energy requirement. Your thermic effect of food, or TEF, the energy required to digest, absorb, and store food, and this accounts for 5 to 10% of the total daily requirement. And then physical activity, this accounts for 15 to 30% of your total daily requirement. And so, of course, what we need to pay attention to then is making sure that we don't take in any more energy than we need to fulfill those 3 basic components. So some suggestions for weight loss tips are listed here. They range from going for a walk, to eating breakfast, to building muscles through weightlifting activities, and stop drinking soda or pop, and eating more fruits and vegetables.